Hey, how's it going, everybody? Strength and conditioning coach Bartholomew here again, and today we're going to talk about balancing an MMA training schedule. So where to begin? When we're preparing for a fight, or when we're just starting our journey in any capacity, whether it's the beginning of camp or whether it's just the 52-week training camp, as we like to call it, because you've got to balance these things throughout the time frame. A lot of times when people think, how do I manage my schedule? They think, oh my God, only up until camp. When really we're looking at, how do we manage all the things that go on during the year? How do we manage everything that could insidiously creep up, sneak up on us, and throw a wrench into our plans? And when we look at the things that you guys have to balance, not only do you have to balance your strength work, your conditioning work, our regeneration or our recovery work, our fight training, and that comprises everything that you're doing from a striking, a wrestling, a grappling, a jiu-jitsu standpoint, but also your actual job, if you guys have to balance that as well, and then family. It gets pretty overwhelming, and you start thinking, not only how do I organize this in general, how can I balance it out over the week? And that's the term that you really got to key in on, balance, because it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as work-life balance. And if you want to be great at something, like you guys want to be at fighting or like you are at fighting, you're not going to be balanced in general in your approach. What you have to think of is seasons, right? Just like there's spring, summer, fall, winter. You're going to have periods of your life, right? Whether that's your real life or your professional life within the fight world, where things are already going to be out of sync. And what you've got to think about is, all right, what can I control? So one of the biggest things that we include within the Savage and Simple 12-week program is we give you a weekly schedule so that at a glance you can see, all right, what's required in phase one. I know that on day one, I'm gonna have to balance these three components. Day two, I've got these, and you can start to fit these things in. But another thing you've gotta consider is not only fitting them in, but the interplay between them. Don't forget to account for stress. You can do all the right stuff from a training standpoint, all the right stuff from a recovery standpoint, a nutrition standpoint, but if things aren't right at work or at home or anything like that, all of that impacts your recovery. It's a mental form of stress that, believe it or not, can decrease your fitness level, decrease your ability to recover from a tough session. And so finding strategies, whether that's mindfulness, whether that's meditation, whatever that is for you, you've got to deal with that. Now, from a more technical side of things, you don't want to put stressful, highly stressful kind of components right next to each other from a training standpoint. So when I look at technical and training, whenever I schedule for my fighters, I never try to put, let's say, a heavy conditioning session, right next to or before one of my toughest sparring sessions of the day. You've got to balance that out. If I know that somebody's sparring that night, we're probably not going to do a high volume strength training routine. Why? Well, because strength training inherently over the short term is going to increase some level of stiffness. Now, contrary to popular belief, and I've talked about this in past videos, it's not like strength training is going to make you stiff and tight and sore and bulky all the time. But of course, there's going to be periods where you're breaking tissue down, you've got to replenish. So you've got to think about that as you go through the week. And this is where the most problematic situation comes in. When we're talking about balance, when we're talking about stress, it's communication. Guys, the art of coaching is all about making sure, do the members of your fight team, from the technical side, know what your strength and conditioning team is doing? Does your family understand what these things are going to be like? Are you even setting yourself up for success by having systems at home where you know you can come home and recover and regenerate and do the things that you need to do to make sure that you're going back into the next day with full intensity? The point is you've got to communicate with the ones that you love, the ones in the strength and conditioning side, the ones in the technical or fight team side, and you've got to plan out your schedule weekly, monthly, because failing to plan is planning to fail. If you want to learn more about how to look at the big picture side of things of strength and conditioning and training and preparation for MMA, click the link below for a free 45-minute webinar, and we'll give you an overview of how this stuff fits together.